So hello and welcome to my next chess video. This time I want to show you the game between Stockfish+NNUE 150720 POPCNT versus Houdini 1.5a. Yeah, this is an old version of Houdini, the version which won the first ever TSEC tournament. Back then it was a 100 game super final match versus Deep Ribka 4.1, which Houdini won, and here I let it play against this new neural network, which is a combination between a alpha-beta engine or brute force calculation engine. Stockfish with the neural network, with a neural network, and let them play this position here. Stopping over there. Yeah, this was the first move calculated and played by Stockfish. Knight a4. Just getting the bishop pair, and here he played a4, just giving his own bishop a retreat square on a2, so that if the knight attacks it, which is happening here, it can go back. And now rook e8, b4, kicking the knight back and bishop back to c4. I don't really get this move because the a-pawn was protected by the queen, but maybe there were some issues with the bishop on a2. But anyway, bishop e6 we have, and now bishop takes e6, rook e6, and now some maneuvering or some developing moves, and now c4, gaining even more space here on the queen side and in the center, controlling the square d5, so black cannot play d5 in this position. And now the knight jumps into d7, and now d4. And now here, look at this position. White has a huge space advantage here on the queen side, but also in the center. Controls a lot of important squares like those two, but also in some cases a4 might be an idea just to get the a file. And yeah, this is just a beautiful position for white, in my opinion. And now black is in a difficult state here already, hasn't got so many moves which are keeping him in the game. He played queen f6, for example. This is one not that great move, but there really are not much better moves in this position. And now d5, closing in the position, getting even more space. And now knight g6, maybe coming into f4 or maybe to h4, exchanging for the knight on f3. Now knight h2, queen e7 back, because there is not a real plan for black. Now queen h4, but this is really nothing. There is no attack here on the king side. The knight will defend everything quite good here. Now attacking the queen with the last move, knight e3, protecting g2, and also looking at the square f5. So dual purpose move, very nice placed knight here, but black also has a nicely placed knight on f5. But anyway, in the long run this space advantage will mean something, I can tell you that. So now knight back g6, bishop f2, just improving the position, queen f4 check, king g1, knight here. There is still nothing. Now pushing on the queen side and getting the only open file on the board, the a file. Now queen g5, threatening knight f3 check, king f1, knight g6, going back to f4 yet again, c5. You always wanna, there's a principle in chess, you always wanna attack like the base of the pawn chain, and if this is not possible, then the next step, and only if you don't have other pawn breaks, you break on the top of the pawn chain, but it's better to break as close on the base as possible. And now queen d8, because what else? If you take this pawn, then just b takes, and yeah, what to do here? For example, h5, this is not good because rook a7. There are many plans in this position. Creating a passed d-pawn, attacking b7, and going knight f5. And those are actually the plans in the game as well, as you will see soon. So we were back here, c5. Queen was played back to d8, and now rook a7 attacking the b-pawn, b6, and now even c6. Kicking the knight, knight f6, and now queen a2. Getting the a file, stopping rook a8. Now rook b8, g3, a very nice move. White exactly knows that black can't do anything, and now even those two squares are covered by this pawn here. And now the knight went back to e8, protecting c7, but now b5, knight f8, and just look at the position. The material might be even, at least yet, but all of black's pieces are on the back rank. There is a huge space advantage here for white. The only open file is also in white's possession, and yeah, here you can't really do anything as black. So for example, rook king g2, h4, h5, still there is nothing. Knight h7, queen a3, and now g5 was played, but g5 is the worst option of those two, but also the best move in this position. g6 is not really holding anything, because just knight c4, and now if the knight goes back, bishop here, and now f6, because bishop g5 was threatened in some variations, and f6, also black can't do anything else. Now queen a1, knight h7, and here comes the shot. As this knight h7 is not the best move, but what else can you do? King h8, just wait for the death, is also not better. But here, knight there. This knight will be a target, a tempo gaining move for white, as you will see soon here. Bishop b6, pawn b6, and now rook here attacking the queen, queen there, and now queen here attacking the knight, doubling on the second rank. Knight here attacking the rook, rook there, just doing something, and now rook a8, the only logical move. But now knight takes b6, rook takes a7, knight takes c8, rook takes e7, knight takes e7 check, and here it's game over, because the king has to move now anywhere. It doesn't really matter. For example, if he moves here, then knight there, just completely creating a wall against this king, and this square is covered by the pawns, so also this knight can't help, and next move b6 will come whatever black does. For example, g5, now b6, and knight g6, b7, and what to do here? Just, yeah, this is all desperation, and here there is a new queen. So although in this position black is up a piece, it doesn't mean anything because of those two extra and connected passed pawns of white. So the position after queen a3 is lost anyway. g6 would have been better, but g5 is played, and now pawn takes g5, knight takes g5, and now you get a knight on f5, and now you have everything you wanted. You got complete control over the position. You have a huge space advantage everywhere on the board. You have the open a file, and you have a nicely entrenched knight here on f4, which cannot be kicked or challenged quite early. Okay, black has a good knight here on g5, but the difference between those two knights is just that this knight can be kicked via f4 as soon as this pawn here is protected. And yeah, this knight not. So yeah, it's just all the positional trump cards and tactical trump cards are in white's favor, but it's often the case if you have a space advantage and strategical advantages in the position, then tactics will work on your side as well. So f6 was played, but now f4, and if you take this pawn, for example, then this doesn't help because queen f3, and now if knight here, then queen h5, and yeah, what can you do? It's still a very bad position for black. It's a mate in 7, for example, knight there, but this doesn't really matter. This is the mate, but the mate in 7, but there are, for example, why play this move? So just play a sensible move. Let's say, okay, you can't play anything here. Let's say you play this new variation. This is more sensible move than queen g6, king b8, and rook takes, pawn takes, not even queen takes. Not even queen takes. Okay, queen takes. Let's put that on the board. E takes knight here, threatening queen there, checkmate. So let's prevent this. But then there is queen h6 checkmate. So there is really nothing you can do anymore. So f4, taking this pawn is losing, as we saw there. So knight went back to f7, and now queen f3 attacking the h pawn that cannot be defended, as you see there. Now one pawn is lost, and now queen here, which is, yeah, but there is really nothing else to play here anymore, because if rook there, then it's basically the same shit. Bishop takes b6, and yeah, if pawn takes, then we have queen takes here and mating on h7. So yeah, queen c8 was played, but now bishop e3, also in this position. Yeah, bishop e3, pawn there, and now bishop takes here as soon as the rook moved. If you don't do that, if you, let's say, just go back with the queen, then f5, you go there. Let's say you just do nothing, queen g6, king f8, queen f6, king g8, and yeah, as you see, black will fall apart anyway. So here we have this little tactic, as we saw before. If the pawn takes, a knight will fall, followed by mate on h7. So rook takes a7, pawn takes bishop takes a7, and now white is just up 2 pawns with all the benefits in the position as well. And here black resigned the game. And yeah, in short, let's just recover this game. It was a pretty nice game here. Pretty logical play, as you'd expect by a neural net. Getting the bishop pair, getting the space, getting even more space. Defending everything on the king side, putting all pawns on white squares, on light squares, except of one, but in the end every pawn will be on a light square. So you have a strong bishop, queen f4 check, but this is just for nothing here. Now getting the only open file, breaking here in the center, attacking the b pawn, getting even more space, taking away the squares for the knight, and now, yeah, this is just such a great position here. Knight on f4, on f5, 2 extra pawns with a huge tactical shot, and still black can't do anything, and here black resigned. Okay, thanks for watching, and see you next time. Ciao.